The domain name system DNS is like the telephone directory, aka Yellow Pages, of the internet. It's the who's who of every website and how to get there. In this video, we will explain what happens when you type a domain name into your URL browser and click go. But where does the request actually go? Well, firstly, we need to understand three numbering and addressing concepts. It starts with a fully qualified domain name, which has three elements, as broken down below. There is the registered domain name, aka the human-friendly alias, which is the name of the website, in this case Google. But the word Google is actually an alias to an IP address, which can be IP version 4 or IP version 6, which relates to routing, explained later. However, this Internet Protocol IP address then maps to a physical address, which is a MAC address inside a server, aka the physical hardware network interface card. Now that is a very simplistic fundamental concept. But how does this principle apply worldwide across the internet using the DNS servers? Well, it's a little bit more complicated, so let's get technical. This is a DNS server. However, there are multiple DNS servers that work together to form the domain name lookup system. So let's illustrate the entire DNS lookup process. But what happens first is a local cache or DNS local file or a local DNS resolver server is checked to see if the entry of the website exists already in the cache to avoid the entire lookup worldwide process, which is to locate the IP address of where the server is that hosts the website that you typed into the browser. If an entry does not exist in the local host cache file, then the full DNS lookup process is invoked, which starts at the global root DNS server, where the question is asked, where is www.google.com? The answer routes you to a top-level domain TLD server, which is for all the .com domains in this example, for which the answer then routes you to the server hosting Google, aka google.com, which is known as the name server or authoritative name server DNS, which has an important name server record file which is fully configurable and contains all various information about that domain, such as its mail records, the web server IP where the website is hosted, and much more. Important technical keynote. In this DNS full lookup process, the root server and the TLD server are uneditable by the user, but the authoritative name server DNS for the domain in question is editable by the user, aka the zone file or the NS record file. Now bear in mind this full DNS lookup process is very taxing and expensive, given all the worldwide routing etc. So what happens is once this is done once, the DNS resolver or local file, resolver or host file is then cached with the result, which saves having to do this over and over again, which simply put contains an entry of website domain name to the IP address of the server where it is hosted. By the way, here are some bonus tips on the screen to understand some of this process. Moving on to another important technical keynote, especially for the CISSP exam, DNS operates under TCP and UDP port 5353. The TCP port is used for zone transfers, whereas the UDP port is used for special manual DNS queries. And finally, some DNS attacks. Let's imagine that the DNS host file or the local resolver file was injected with some false DNS data, which we now know would be problematic throughout the DNS chain. Similarly, if the name server or the name server files, aka zone files, are poisoned, the whole chain could also be poisoned, meaning users are redirected to malicious or farming sites. These types of attacks are known as DNS farming with a P or DNS query spoofing, which ultimately would not be very good, especially if these rogue servers are cached, meaning that they will always be referred to by the host files, meaning the user will always go to malicious DNS servers, also known as black DNS servers. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you would like to see more content like this, it would be super fantastic if you could leave a like and subscribe to help support this channel's growth.